I'm going to try and give a brief explanation of what's going on in the world on a fundamental level as far as this battle between good and evil and this battle between people that want to abusively control others and those that don't want to be abusively controlled. So it's basically a situation wherein you have the majority of people deceived by the few who are committing the massive abuse on a global scale. If someone is being abusive, they are not trustworthy, right? Extortion is a act of aggression, right? And that's what taxation is. If you look up the definition of extortion, you should recognize that that fits very nicely into describing taxation. So you have an entire institution based on aggression, right? And aggression is a form of abuse, like deception. So if you have anyone from an institution based on abuse, or if you have anyone that condones and promotes and supports an institution of abuse, they are not trustworthy, right? So politicians, the mass media pushing all of their mandates, you should automatically be untrustworthy. And then, of course, there's all of history to look at, right? All of the terrible things they've done in the past. So, what's the answer? Rather than just staying in this confused, oh, the world is so crazy, there is a clear answer. It's called individual sovereignty. It's called not creating these positions of power in the first place for these abusers to take hold of and abuse continuously. It's that simple. It's like really not complicated. It's just ridiculous, like across the board, whether it's medical mandates or gun confiscation. Like here in the States, of course, these communist minded people that have gotten into power are trying to confiscate guns like communists always want to do to populations. And I'm just listening to a video yesterday where they were talking about just even the rules. They're always going incrementally as much as they can, but like you can have the brace of the gun on your cheek, but if it touches your shoulder, that's not okay, or it can only touch your shoulder briefly. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, zoom out again. We have one man telling another man, like, how his weapon can touch his body, right? As he uses it to defend himself and his family. They're treating people like livestock, right? Literally. And then on top of that, oh, you know, these are what we're going to inject into your body. These chemical cocktails are being injected into your body, whether you like it or not. Literally treating people like livestock. Would you be okay with your neighbor making medical mandates? No, right? It's because it's all abusive, and it's still abusive when some so-called authority figure does it. It's just this Stockholm syndrome. It's just this idol worship that puts these people on this pedestal as if they somehow deserve an exception to the rule against abuse. And so that's like the fundamental blunder. And then all of this repeating drama and tragedy is just really a product of that fundamental blunder. Like that really is the bottom line. That's the fundamental issue of what's going on. But most people are just focused on the branches of the evil, right? The news, whether it's, propagandistic news or people fighting against the propaganda. That's kind of the branch of the tree level, whereas the root or the trunk is this fundamental issue of accepting abuse by some people and forming whole institutions of abuse, and then thinking that that's going to work out and then that's going to make the world a better place than if we actually treated each other as sovereign individuals with equal rights. No one has the right to abuse anyone else. No one has the right to coerce injections or medical devices or disarm anyone else. No one has the right to extort anyone else. Just basic morality, right? And then we could recognize that we're all humans on the planet Earth. The land, water, and seed is a gift from God. It's a birthright of everyone. We should all be able to have a fair share of that so that we can survive and thrive without being money slaves, form voluntary communities of these sovereign homesteads as sovereign individuals. It's pretty simple, but most people don't believe it, right? They think, well, no, we have to have these institutions of abuse. It's a necessary evil. And you're wrong. There's no necessary evil.